It's actually amazing because 2 years ago, I was in the same room. I sat at the back there, again, a bit like this. I was the last speaker, and 5 people were left when I spoke. And, and we got our first contract. So I'm sort of halfway through. I kind of doubled my chances. I'm quite happy. Yeah, I was going to kind of race through some stuff. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I thought this would fascinate the finance guys here, so I'll put it up. I didn't know this was true until Graham organized me to go to dinner with the chairman of Alexander Forbes. I don't know what I was doing there. And the speaker, whose official job title was French thinker, which I thought was the best job title I've ever heard of. So I was fascinated to hear what he had to say. And essentially, he talked about the knowledge economy versus the material economy. Now, you guys probably all know this, but I didn't have a clue what he was talking about. But he essentially said, if you've got 1 rand and I've got 1 rand, you can add it together, and the most you can possibly get, even at the best banks, is 2 rand. Okay? But in a knowledge economy, if you've got 1 idea and you share it with another, you can have way more than 2 or 3 ideas. And so he used those as examples of why Silicon Valley worked, why South Korea worked, how they created industries where there were no actual natural resources. So I know we've talked about disruption a lot. It's kind of a common phrase going around tonight. But this is what's happened to healthcare at the moment. So I'm coming from a very different slant. The only thing I know about finance was that at the end of the course of business science, 2 of us snuck into the photographs. If you look at the end of your photograph of 2002 business science, I'm there. But I wasn't at any lectures. But essentially, medicine's changing, and you've got to disrupt yourself, otherwise someone else will do it for you. Just for example, even startups are being disrupted. Okay, this is a fancy slide, all the things happening in healthcare tech. This is from Rock Health. They're one of the best health VCs in the States at the moment. Lots of money flows through them. And 3 of these are no longer on that list, believe it or not. So entire segments are just falling out and being amalgamated into others and things like this. It's amazing how fast things are happening in the health space. What we've done is we decided to try and put the specialist into your phone. Okay. Luckily, phones are getting bigger these days. But essentially, my background is in rural health. I was the vice chair of the Rural Doctors Association. Spent a lot of time working in the Transkei. When I was there, we were actually 1 hour's drive from the nearest petrol station. Not the most terribly efficient place to live. And there was no phone line. So it was literally, there was zero access to any specialist. So it's kind of like I felt that kind of pain. By hook or by crook, I ended up in New York and Washington making mobile phone applications for healthcare. I worked with a company called Voxiva, who'd done quite well. And I was making applications that made Americans thinner and stop smoking, which didn't really appeal to my rural health kind of nature. So another thing led back, I ended up in volunteering in an eye clinic in Swaziland called the Vula Eye Clinic, which means Open Your Eyes Eye Clinic. And that's when the mobile tech, healthcare, and putting something where people really can get access to a specialist wherever they are, kind of came about. So this idea is about 4 years old, and it's kind of matured a bit since then. Now the app's available on iOS, it's available on Android. Like you say, we funded it mostly through competition money. So I wouldn't even know how to give away equity if I tried. I've got no financial training. I would if I could. But sounds true, sorry. But that's how we've done it. So this is just from last weekend, just a matter of interest. Okay, it's only an app. This is the first time we've ventured outside of that. This is a machine that you can 3D print. It takes 3 hours. Okay, you attach it to a lens, and you can get a photograph. Now that's the back of my eye, and that big white sort of round ring, well, I think it's big as my brain. Well, it's my optic nerve, which actually represents my brain. It's the only nerve you can see, it's the only part of the brain you can see without cutting your skull off. So there's proof that I have a brain, which I didn't know until they took that photo. But essentially, you can download, print this anywhere in the world right now. Okay, we have 550 eye specialists or people involved in eye care using the app already. Last week, UCT announced, no marketing from us, that they are using this as their eye referral platform. To give an example how it's been working in the past, like you guys are not from the 80% in South Africa who is public healthcare. I really doubt that. Okay, but 80% of the country is using that kind of environment. And if you pitch up at one of the referral hospitals' doors, having been referred by a doctor, there are hundreds of people at that door. They take 20. Okay? And if you don't get a chance, you have to pitch up the next day and the next day. Now, it might have been your uncle or your grandmother who was blind, okay? And you just have to keep on pitching up, taking leave every single time just to get your surgery. So you're not paying in money like you do for your medical aids, you're paying in a hell of a lot of time. Minimum of a day to see a specialist in kind of the environments where I've worked. Just in terms of development and stuff, I'm so glad you brought up the Eastern Cape. We're all global citizens, but my emotional home is the Eastern Cape. And if you look at Africa in general, I know this is all kind of a wealth and finance and everything, but you can't have that without health, in my opinion. But I'm a bit biased. But, and that's why we invented the Vula app. So basically, we've rolled out now, we've got a stethoscope that can analyze your heart sounds and tell them whether they're normal or not. You don't need to go to a cardiologist anymore. It's really easy to use. There's a hearing test. We're linking up with HearScreen. It's a company based in Pretoria. You can do a hearing test on anyone, just with a simple pair of headphones that they send to you. So basically, we're trying to take the specialist way out of the hospital, put it in your phone, and give everyone in Africa access to this kind of service. I think this is really exciting. Medical schools are devastated because these guys are graduating after 7 years and they can't do what we're doing already. But what is happening is we've had over 1,100 patients referred. And if you think about it, that's the biggest textbook of eye conditions in South Africa ever written. We didn't expect that, but the education department came to us and said, can they use our case studies? Just in terms of why I'm here, well, first of all, Graham invited me. But it kind of harks back to when I hiked the Fish River Canyon, which if you ever get the chance, please go and do it. It's absolutely incredible, and I'll show you one picture. There was very much little water when we hiked through this, kind of like a deserty area. And at night there was no moon. It was like a very low moon that particular time of the year. And the stars were phenomenal. And it was just, I've never seen such amazing, I don't know if you can see that, yeah. The stars just blew my mind. I mean, it was actually hard to make out the constellations. And that's when I realized, actually, all these little M-Health companies, some of my friends are in your incubator, and they said, we're all doing the same thing. Like there are 20 of us, 30 of us maybe. The chance of us all succeeding is zero. Okay, it's just not going to happen. If we weren't all going to become big companies, it's just not possible. Well, not statistically anyway, which you guys know more about. But basically we said, we actually, rather than being individual stars, we actually have to form constellations. And I think if there's any way for us to partner with like a SnapScan, I can't believe you even heard of us, but I mean like, okay, oh yeah. That's right, oh yeah, she asked me a question. But anyway, but imagine if you could hold up your phone to a healthcare worker anywhere in the country, and kind of our little sort of a disruptive dream is to basically saying, rather than going through medical school, we give you the app, bunch of tools. If you want to go and see a doctor, you call this guy, he comes to your house, he measures you and everything. It's a secure chat with a specialist, you've still got the trust there and everything. You're getting a specialist opinion in the comfort of your own home by a guy who's got a job and you can pay him a SnapScan. How about that? Something like that, I think, could really kind of cross barriers, and it'll actually be very disruptive to the whole medical system. If you can imagine the fact, like, why should I go through the 7 years of medical school to do that? I don't need to do that. I can do that now. I'll just get a job as a healthcare worker in the Transkei, and I can do this straight away. It doesn't matter where the specialists are. And what we realized is that because we made it so simple that it could work in Swaziland and in the Eastern Cape, what happened next? We got phoned by a guy in New Zealand who actually designed that 3D printing attachment. And he said, please can we use your app in New Zealand because it's simpler than the one we made. So I think if you design for this market, you can really have a huge impact globally. It's not about the local market. And also what we're involved with, we serve 80% of in terms of public healthcare, we work with 80% of the customers in your country. So if we're your channel, the trusted channel to those people, I think some financial people might be interested one day. I'm going to run away soon, but maybe, catch me if you can. I'm also only William Mapham on LinkedIn, only William Mapham on Facebook, so also very easy to find. The company's name is Mapham because when I was at med school, or I didn't get into med school, so they changed my name to Mapham so I would get in. It worked, yeah. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thanks very much, and hope to hear from you, some of you.